Discovery Bay Comics, congratulations, you won the giveaway from last week. Comic Fam, enjoy your Hot Comics list. Back at the table to discuss the comic books defining this generation of collectors, based off of last week's record breakers that are causing a ruckus to the comic book marketplace. At the table virtually with my good friend, Gem from @GemMintCollectibles. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. What's going on, Comic Tom? We're here to talk about all the same books that we talked about last week. No, but in all seriousness, there are some books from last week, and that just means that they're continuing to break records. That's why they're on the list. Not so much the book, but the fact that they're selling for exorbitant amounts of money.
That's right. By chatting about the height of the market, we're chatting about the health of the market and how they affect the rest of the comic books, the rest of the keys. And let's get into one that we've chatted about before that we knew would be spiking. At the list at number 10, we have X-Men, issue number 12, the first appearance of the Juggernaut.
That's right, and this is a newer book to the list. I don't think we've seen this one. We've talked about it in the past for sure, and I don't think we've got any rumors or castings for Juggernaut. It's just that collectors are scooping up popular X-Men villain keys. We have record-breaking sales here in a CGC 0.5, lower than an entry-level grade. This book sold for $39 in 2016 and is up 477% because someone bought one for $225. Then you got a 1.8. We're kind of getting into our entry level, still kind of on the low end. That book sold for $175 in April. It's up 171% because someone just bought one for $475. But now we have a respectable investment grade CGC 7.0 that went for $1,700 just this month, now selling for 41% higher at $2,400.
Funny enough, Kane Marco, the Juggernaut, is Professor X's stepbrother, and he doesn't get his powers from a mutant ability. No, he gets it from the gem of Sidorak, the elder god, the demonic deity.
And speaking of everybody trying to pick up their X-Men keys, we have some honorable mentions here. We have X-Men 50, the first appearance of Polaris, a 9.6 sold for $1,137 back in 2007. It's up 208%, now selling for $3,500. Then we got X-Men 109, the first weapon alpha or Guardian. This 9.6 sold for $676 in March, is up 78%, now selling for $1,200.
Comic Fam, I need you to slap that subscribe button. You know we're here for you every single week. And let's take a look at number 9 on the list with the first appearance of our Galactic Surfer, our Silver Surfer in Fantastic Four issue number 48, and the first cameo appearance of Galactus. Starting it off with the 5.0 going for $3,000 back in April, up 30%, now selling for $3,914. 7.0s back in March were going for $5,033. That's up 19%, now selling for $6,000 easy. And the 8.0 going for $6,600 back in March is up 40%, now selling for $9,250.
This is definitely a book that we've talked about previously on this list, but it keeps breaking records, so it deserves to be here. Everyone's trying to scoop up their Silver Surfer keys, and we have an honorable mention with Silver Surfer 4. That classic cover depicting Silver Surfer vs. Thor, a 4.0, which sold for $600 in March of this year, is up 92%, now selling for $1,150.
We are dealing with a major price correction across all the grades. I'll remind the Comic Fam about the giant 9.2 sale we covered last week. Back in February, going for $8,900, up 116%, with a new record breaker 60 days later of $19,200. And it's not just about our Silver Surfer. Galactus, Marvel's trademark, they're deciding to do some interesting things.
Yeah, that's right. The Chutrick brothers teased their new Galactus maquette by Sideshow Collectibles, and that means Marvel had to give the okay. They already showed the Silver Surfer last year, and he's about to ship. It's only a matter of time before we start getting some Fantastic Four statues.
Now we're chatting the King of Wakanda, King T'Challa, the first appearance of the Black Panther. At number 8, Fantastic Four issue number 52. This book keeps on going up. Let's start them with the 3.0, going for $650 back in February, up 23%, now selling for $800. The 4.5, once going for $1,020 in March, up 35%, now selling for $1,375. The 6.0, once going for $1,535 just this past March, up 63%, selling for $2,500 even. Now, it is very curious. Gem, have you heard the rumors? This recasting that supposedly wasn't supposed to happen is now being rumored to take place regardless of what Kevin Feige said just months ago.
Yeah, that's right. I know there's a petition going on online, and I can totally get why people don't want him to be recasted. But man, there's so much more T'Challa's story to tell in the MCU. I want to see him get together with Storm. I want to see him go head to head with Namor. I want to see him become the King of the Dead. It's funny, this news is definitely causing more interest in this book, but I think the book gains value either way. Either you have Chadwick Boseman immortalizing T'Challa in the movies that he was in, and that key issue standing firm, or you have a new actor coming in, taking over the mantle, and having T'Challa continue his reign in the MCU.
Well, to drive your point home, Gem, we can take a look at Black Panther #1 from 1977. Jack Kirby, goodness, a 9.8, once going for $2,100 in February, has doubled in price, 100%, now selling for $4,191. Clearly, members believe in this character, and for good reason, just like #7 on the list. Incredible Hulk, issue number 180, the first cameo appearance of the Wolverine.
And collectors are rejoicing. This book is finally getting the love and respect that it deserves. The first cameo appearance, technically the first time you have Wolverine show up in story in a comic book, breaking all types of records. We got a CGC 2.5 that sold for $400 in July of last year, up 53%, now selling for $610.
We have a 3.5 going for $622 back in March, up 50%, now selling for $930. That's going to clear a K.
Then we got the 6.5, which sold for $1,950 in March of this year, up 21%, now selling for $2,350.
Now, Hulk 180 has a Marvel value stamp. It's a Cyclops coupon that you're looking for. And we reminded the community last week to always be checking to make sure that your comic book was complete, that it wasn't cut out. And I find it fascinating how many members agreed with our analysis that the incomplete copies, possibly even the restored copies, those purple and green labels, could be on the rise next as those completed copies of these blue chip record breakers continue to price themselves out.
Yeah, it's funny. We used to tell you to look out for the value stamp so that you don't pick one up, but I think it's going to get to a point where people are going to want those green labels because they're more affordable.
Especially considering Hulk 181, the first full appearance of Wolverine. A 3.5 was going for $2,800 just last month, and this month it's up 43%, now selling for $4,000.
But enough of Wolverine. Let's move over to #6 on the list with Amazing Spider-Man #15, back on the list with the first appearance of Kraven the Hunter.
We have the second appearance of the Chameleon. We have the first mention of Mary Jane Watson in a comic book, but it's all about Kraven. And I'll remind the comic fam that it was back in July 2019 when Key Collector told the comic community that Kraven was in active development for a movie. And it wasn't until the following year, in May 2020, when Deadline told the world and validated this to be true. Key Collector was ahead of the curve, and you can't be too if you use code TOM101 and download the best comic app in existence. It'll keep you up on all comic news, and it'll keep you up with all of us.
And with prices like this, it looks like collectors are craving a Kraven movie. A CGC 3.0 sold for $950 back in March of this year. It's up 3%, selling for $976. A 7.0 sold for $1,990 back in September of last year. That's up 71%, selling for $3,400. And one grade up, a 7.5, which sold for $3,000 back in 2018. It's up 50%, now selling for $4,500.
At the list of #5, we have one of my all-time favorite mutant keys. Some call it a double key, some a triple, and some even a quadruple. We have Uncanny XMen issue number 129, the first cameo team appearance of the Hellfire Club, part 1 of the Dark Phoenix saga. It all starts here, as well as the first appearance of Emma Frost, the White Queen, and my favorite mutant, the first debut of Kitty Pryde.
And with no announcements, no rumors, collectors just trying to get all the X-Men keys that they can before they're out of reach. A CGC 8.0, which sold for $386 just this month, is up 17%, now selling for $450. But the 9.6, which sold for $1,750 in March of this year, is up 71%, selling for $3,000.
Then we have the leader of the pack, the investment copy, the CGC 9.8, going weeks ago for $33.60, up this week 43% with a new price of $4,800. I suspect price correction is coming across the board with this issue.
Moving on to number 4 on the list, finally, a book that's not a Marvel key issue. We have Invincible #1, the first appearance of Mark Grayson, his father Omni-Man, his love interest Adam Eve, and a slew of other characters. I'm a huge fan of this series. I'm loving what they're doing with the animated adaptation, and collectors are buying into the first appearances.
We have Robert Kirkman goodness, the creator of Walking Dead, and a modern book nonetheless, squeezing its way in the top 5 slot this week on the Hot 10 list. How exciting. The 9.2 back in March was going for $975. That's up 37%, now selling for $1,335. And the 9.6, going for $1,428 just weeks ago, is up 56% now with a new price of $2,229.
But the big daddy of them all, the CGC 9.8, this book sold for $2,500 back in March of this year. It's up 47%, now selling for $3,670.
Holy smokes, that happened quick. Those are some tremendous gains in a really short amount of time. Clearly, members are digging this show. And when you consider that copies ordered by retailers when this comic debuted was a lonely 10,800, it makes me feel like those early issues, those low print issues early in the run, are primed for speccing on more now than ever.
Yeah, you're talking like first appearance of Battle Beast, who just showed up in the last episode. The thing is, it's a modern book, and that kind of has gone out the window with collecting recently. It doesn't matter what the print runs are. It matters what the demand is. There's a huge demand for Miles Morales, Ahsoka Tano. Does Mark Grayson have what it takes to be a household name? Personally, I don't see him hitting those levels, but, collectors are enjoying scooping up the first appearance now.
Now, Invincible 1 will likely see a little bit more of an uptick. We're just starting the series, but the question is where it will end and if it will retract in price by the time the season finishes. And that is when it matters most. I can't imagine this blue chip modern book being able to compete with the likes of Miles Morales or Ahsoka Tano. And because of that, I suspect this comic book to be hitting its cap very soon.
And speaking of TV shows that are causing books to spike, we got number 3 on the list, Avengers 4, the first Silver Age appearance of Captain America.
After being broken out of that ice, where Captain America lay dormant since the Golden Age, to join the Avengers in issue number 4, making it his first Silver Age appearance in comic books, as well as the first cover appearance on an official Marvel Comics cover, because previously he was in Timely and Atlas Comics. We have also the death of Bucky in a flashback, as well as some major records to report on. The 6.5, going for $3,630 earlier this month, is up 18%, now selling for $4,300.
And the next grade point up, a 7.0, which just sold for $3,599, is up 53%, now selling for $5,520.
Avengers number 4 is an expensive book. It's always been a major key and one that's wanted by the members. So it's curious to see such price correction take place for this particular issue, as well as seeing so many members frolic towards Captain America 100, his first solo issue in a comic book. I want to know from you, Gem, do you think that this is because of the Falcon and Winter Soldier narrative that's kind of boosting these cap keys? Or do you think it's because of just the overall constant record breakers of the blue chip books that's now boosting keys like this and members just throwing down money to secure their copy while they can?
That's a good point. Is it because books like Daredevil 1, Amazing Spider-Man 1, even X-Men 1 are reaching all new heights and collectors are just looking for comparable keys to invest in? I mean, Falcon and Winter Soldier doesn't even have Steve Rogers in the show. It's about Captain America and the Shield, but I digress.
Comic fam, I want to hear your thoughts about this Silver Age goodie in the comment section below. You know we have a giveaway on deck, so stay tuned. And Gem, you already foreshadowed it at the list at number 2. We have Uncanny XMen, issue number 1, the first appearance of the mutants, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Marvel Girl, Iceman, Angel, Professor X, Magneto, and the Beast.
A book that's outperforming itself in every grade. We're going to start with a 0.5. $4,000 for this book just last month. It's up 13%, now selling for $4,500. The mid-grade 5.0. This book sold for $16,000 in February of this year, up 70%, now selling for $27,133. And then you got the 6.0. This book was selling for $25,000 in February of this year, up 60%, now selling for $40,000.
If this doesn't tell the community that they need to be actively hunting for and investing in affordable mutant keys while they still can, I don't know what does. We're chatting a $15,000 price hike in under 60 days, comic fam. And we're already hearing rumors of a Wolverine miniseries being in active development that's going to take us all throughout Logan's timeline. We're going to see early years of Logan, latter years of Logan, so much mutant spec to be had. You got to get your mutant keys in check.
And if they do follow through with that Wolverine anthology type of series, that's going to be a great opportunity for them to showcase his rogues gallery, Lady Deathstrike, Silver Samurai, Omega Red, and of course, Sabretooth.
Oh my gosh, you just said Omega Red. Might as well throw Mephisto in there. The spec will never die, comic fam. But I digress. Hit that subscribe button because at the list at number 1, the hottest comic book in the world, we have a momentous occasion, one that has never happened on the Hot 10 to date. We have a book that made its way on the trending list after Key Collector called the spec that was validated just days later. Kudos, Key Collector Comics. You really hooked the fam up on this one. We have a book that made its way on the trending list that has now made our way to number 1 on the hot list. Let's welcome Strange Tales 159, the first appearance of Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine.
Nick Fury's sidechick who becomes a high-ranking member of S.H.I.E.L.D. and later on, Madam Hydra. This book is on fire. A CGC 8.5 sold for $125 just this month. It's up 460% with a high sale of $700. Then we got the 9.2. This book sold for $288 in February of this year. Also up 456%, now selling for $1,600. But Tom, hit him with that 9.4.
This is outstanding, comic fam. This right here shows the power of the MCU, the power of Disney Plus, as well as the new comic market that we are living in today. A 9.4, which once went for $400 back in 2009. No one was specking on this comic. Had an uptick of 350% with a new price of $1,800. And Gem, aren't you a major Seinfeld fan?
It's got to be my all-time favorite show. And yeah, I definitely love to see Julia Louis-Dreyfus in the MCU. I wish it was more of a character that I connected with, but we'll settle for this.
Well, get this, we're seeing a 250% increase in copies sold since the trending video just days ago. Comic fam, I gotta know your thoughts about this appearance. I gotta know your thoughts about Falcon and Winter Soldier. Do you have any of these books? And do any of these record breakers cause you to speculate on other key comics? Because that's what this list is really about. It's not just about watching these blue chip keys from a distance, you know, wishful thinking that you can afford a $40,000 book one day. No, it's about the ramifications these record breakers have because they are signs of a healthy comic book market. As always,
geek responsibly and stay minty fresh.
Enough said. Comic fam, we got other videos for you to check out. I got a Shang-Chi #1 variant that you could win. Did you see that trailer? I am all sorts of hyped. As well as a She-Hulk variant for Women of Marvel that we just dropped for our May mystery mail call. ComicTom101.com to join or hit the link in the description to support the show and get comics from us. Have a great week.